Hot Reds podcast. Here are your hosts, Ricky Logan and Roger Straz.
Welcome to the Red Hot Reds, a Cincinnati Reds podcast. We are here on a Thursday. We're doing it because we took off Easter. So we're coming at you with a video to update some recaps on the last couple series. And also today we have some big news of the City Connects dropping for the 2026 season. So that's kind of a big deal. A lot of discourse online, a lot of stuff going back and forth with everyone liking it or disliking and all that stuff in between. But yeah, since we're back on a Thursday, we're able to get you some more Reds content. We're really appreciative of everyone that's followed us, liked our stuff, downloaded our podcast on Apple and Spotify and iHeart. Our numbers are growing on there a lot, by the way. I think I've been telling you that, Ricky. So really appreciative of all you guys doing that, and girls and everyone in between and that. So we're really thankful for the growth. We're trying to keep growing this channel for you and giving you different content like these ideas where we're just going to react to the news of the day and maybe the series recapping, so that way you can get some of our takes on what has happened. But before we get into all that, Ricky, how have you been?
Been doing pretty well. The week's almost over. We had a winning road trip, and it's kind of nice to see a winning team, even though we're not scoring many runs right now.
Yeah, kind of a downer to lose the last two games of the road trip. But if you said that we were going to be 5-2 playing the Rangers and 4 games against the pesky Marlins, I think you take it. That's a winning, that's a winning week of games, 7 games, and now we go into the City Connect Friday and Saturdays, which are kind of cool to roll that off. And we'll get right into it if you're ready, Ricky. Like today was the big reveal, but I don't know about you. I think everyone found out like March 30th. I think I was at the game, Chase Burns game against the Pirates, and everyone kind of got the leak and all that. And everyone's like, is this it? Is it not? Maybe fake news, who knows? And it ended up being all red, like the leak had put out there. But yeah, if you want to throw that up there, Ricky, we are going to show you the new City Connects. If you haven't heard, Rooted in Red. This is a 2026 edition. It's got a lot of cool little details and stuff like that we'll get into in a minute. But what were your first reactions when you saw this, when it was leaked, or today, or any of those times?
Yeah, I mean, there was the talk about it potentially being sleeveless, which I think a lot of people got excited about. Me, it's cool, but then I also think about how unpractical it is to have sell a jersey sleeveless, and people want to wear their jerseys all the time. You can't, not just in the summertime, but it would look cool. I mean, we got teased in the 2019 season where they had the sleeveless throwbacks, but I don't want to say surprised, but or disappointed, but I was just kind of meh about the all red. I was kind of thinking maybe make it like a traditional uniform, but have white pants with black pinstripes or something. But I'm a fan, but I'm not a fan of these prices. I don't know if you've seen the prices for them yet, but man, oh man, it's crazy.
Yeah, I will say this, in the world that we live in now with Fanatics putting a lot of the stuff out there, those ridiculous $55 hats where the insignia is about this big on the hat, and it's still just as meh can be, as mid as the kids say. I would say this is a bit more of an upgrade. I know people have their problems with Nike. Yeah. I know people have the problems with the City Connect in general, with some cities going with some weird colors that don't connect any which way to the city that they're representing. So there could be some little bit of, Nike fraud of trying to get you just to buy a jersey, even if it doesn't look anything that connects to the city that they are a part of. So that being said, I am okay with them going with the all red. The question becomes in some of the little details that they put in there, like you had talked about the sleeveless. Maybe. You know why they don't go with the sleeveless, Ricky? Because then they can't put a patch on there that says Kroger. They can't put a patch on there that says whatever. They're not going to give
exactly up. Right.
They're not going to give up space where they could advertise and get more money from Kroger. Whomever.
Put it on the helmet. Put it on the hat.
Yeah, that too. I was really thinking that because they were alluding to the vest so badly, why didn't they just make the sleeves black? Well, I mean, then that will give the little more
Yeah.
accentuation to the vest. But neither here nor there. These are small quibbles in the long run of all this stuff. I do kind of fall on your side of the pants being all red. I'm not a big fan of that, especially because baseball uniforms generally aren't all the same color. They generally go with like a gray or a white, or maybe even like if you're the Pirates, like the all black. Like that's the only like one that comes to mind that they go head to toe. This gives me like NFL colorway vibes. You know what I mean? Like when they did that Thursday, and I think they might still do that. But anyway, how the NFL would do like all the same color, like all white, all orange. I don't even know the Bengals. They go with, I think, the all white.
The
But
Bengals
like,
were all white. Yeah.
yeah, that's what this is giving me vibes of, and that's good and bad. I don't know. To me, it's cool that they got the pinstripes on it. That's about the only saving grace for that. So I don't know. Overall, I think it's great, but yeah, the prices, golly, that will put a lot of people like on what I like to call a little small micro business loan type of deal where they're getting that. This is what I kind of like. I kind of like the accentuation with the white and the red and the black because I think what
Yeah.
it is on the first connects is that it's just black and red, right? I can't remember.
Yeah, it was a black hat with just a red C. There was no other outlines. It was just one color, I'm pretty sure. I
Yeah,
have to
no,
have it
this
over here
one I
somewhere.
like it a lot more, and also the pinstripes as well is a nice touch. I like the hat. If we could just like,
Yeah, the hat's super nice.
yeah, so that might be where I go down the path of just spending money on a hat. No need to go all out with like getting the jersey and whatnot. That I think what $200 for the jersey, right? Like,
Yeah.
woof, woof. Yeah, this is the details that I really liked when I saw this. There are some really cool things about it, like talking about the vest they kind of alluded to and whatnot, the pinstripes. The real big thing that ties it all together is that sleeve patch that they have there with the a fountain square, the water pouring down from Fountain Square and whatnot, and that's a nice, really nice touch that I think really shows. That's the City Connect part of it, right? That's the thing that you want to see representing your city, that it shows you that this jersey just isn't just to be sold. It's there to represent Cincinnati in its entirety.
Yeah, and yeah, we're biased, but I genuinely love how they incorporated the city in both City Connects. And you know, the 5 lines in the C are for the 5 championships. I don't know if people knew
Oh,
that or not, but that's what that's for. And
nice.
then like just going with Cincy is kind of cool. I like that. And then yeah, they did have, like, here it says a sleeve is a darker shade of red and the jersey pinstripes intentionally cut off at the shoulder, a nod to the popular vest style uniform last worn 2 decades ago, which, I wasn't the biggest fan of the vest, like, just personally. I was a fan of the pinstripes. I'm glad they brought that back, but and I like how they kind of styled it after like the modern current uniform with the logo on the right and the number on the left. But like I genuinely I like it a lot.
Yeah, for sure. It's a nice shirt. Only gripe I have is if you're gonna go with the vest, why not put like a different color? I mean, they said a slightly different red. Okay, I mean, or B for effort, C for effort. I don't know, but I feel like the black sleeves would have really popped. Really kind of alluded to that like '90s, 2000s reds. That would really kind of really, I think, really sold it for me. But yeah, the 5 lines, that's pretty cool too. I didn't know that was a tribute to the 5 championships. That's kind of a nice little tiny detail as well. And yeah, the hat looks nice. The hat looks like vintage, but also kind of modern. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of almost like that's
It
what they
has a
say, like,
90s vibe to it,
right?
and it's also got a very modern vibe to it. I like it a lot. Like I'm definitely gonna go buy one this weekend.
Yeah, I would say the hat is the only thing that's better than the 2023 City Connects for me. I like the black
Yeah.
City Connects because, like, I don't know. I guess maybe growing up a White Sox fan, the mantra they had was "Good guys wear black." It was like their every single year that was like their mantra or their slogan. So like that wear it all black. Like I don't know. It's just kind of like it's pretty I think top shelf in terms of like just coolness and out there. You know what I mean? Like just put it out there. I know the Reds, they have their eras of different types of jerseys of white and whatnot, but like this is like nice to go to a different way of representing the Cincinnati Reds. And yeah, LA makes everything really look cool, to be honest with you. So it's kind of hard to make it look that bad. I really think that the white pants was a misstep, that they could have, or the red pants, they could have gone with the white. And it's, you know what I mean? Because they still have white on the jersey with the C and on the cap, you know? So like, I felt like that could have been a nice mount, maybe with a red stripe down the side, or like you said, pinstripes, something like that. I don't know. That I feel like that could be maybe adjusted. You know what I mean? I don't think they're completely sold on the pants, you know?
And, maybe they incorporate this into a future, where it becomes just the standard uniform where they have the red, black, and a white of the same version. And then they have, the current uniforms, like a throwback or an alternate, like the current red and the current white. They'll have to find a gray version, obviously, but they keep talking about this logo being a nod to the future, and it just makes me think that maybe eventually this will be the new, like, just standard logo. But yeah, I mean, Ellie makes everything look cool, and I want to do an experiment, because I just thought about this on the fly. It seems like the Reds always perform very well on the Black City Connects. Yeah. And I want to know what their record is. I'd like to find the record for the City Connects. I know they lost their debut game. It was against the Yankees, I'm pretty sure, in 23. But, yeah. I mean, Ellie hit for the cycle in the City Connects. Votto had, I think it was his first game back, right, in the City Connects, or he had that whole, it was a massive game he had when he came back. Candelario's hit home runs in the black ones. So, I mean, like, a lot of things happen in the black uniforms, and I'm curious, like, can they get that same mojo with the red? Because it just felt like City Connect Fridays, they always seem to play at a different level. And I don't know if it was just a thing or not, but
I think
I'm interested to see what happens.
Yeah, I think it was for a bit. I can't exactly remember, because there was, yeah, you're right, the cycle game and whatnot, and Votto probably had a couple moments with the City Connects. I don't remember that being an overwhelming situation. And I was trying to look. It looks like, at least in the 2023 season, they had like a 500 record. But I don't know. We'll have to do some more research. I am really pleased about how they're implementing the 26 jersey and keeping the 2023 City Connects on Fridays. That was really nice, because a lot of people, and also other teams in different cities, retired their 23 jersey. And I think that was at like Nike's, directive. It was to get rid of them, or basically retire them from being used in their jersey set. Now City Connect Fridays are still City Connect Fridays with the black and with the fireworks on Friday. And now the Saturday game is going to be the City Connect Reds, which makes a lot more sense, because like usually the Friday night games, 7:00, so it's not too hot to wear black in the middle of July. And Saturday games are going to be maybe like 1:00, 4:00. You know what I mean? So like that would be better to wear the red, and to be honest with you, than wearing all black.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just a little disappointed in the pricing, but I'll definitely get a hat, maybe a polo, and then it'll take a lot to get a jersey. But and I was kind of disappointed about the jerseys that they had that you could buy without getting personalized. I think it's just Steer, McLean, Ellie, and Green. I think that's really? And then you can go to the team shop and you can get a blank jersey and get it customized with any player on the team, or however you want to get it customized. But I don't know how much they're going to cost at the team store, because team store usually costs more than going to Rally House or Fanatics or something.
Yeah. I don't even want to know, to be honest with you, because I saw the sticker price at $200, and that might be cheap by the time you get to that point. So yeah, we'll see. I don't know. That is interesting. You can't customize, because I thought all of our contemporaries, I don't know if that's too strong of a word, a lot of the guys in the Reds media space were getting some jerseys with their names on it. That seems to be customized in that way. So that's quite interesting how they're able to do that. But yeah. Any other thoughts about these City Connects? I think overall thumbs up for me, at least.
Yeah, I give it a thumbs up. I would give it 2 thumbs up if it had the white pants, but I'm still a fan.
Yeah, yeah. There was so many renderings of other people like doing uh their own take on the City Connects and whatnot. Like I saw that basically the red one, but it was all white, and I was like, okay, that could be like 2029's version, basically, or something like that. Maybe I don't, as much as like, the rollout of this is kind of like takes a while and everything like that. I don't think there's ever been a team that's outright rejected their City Connects. Maybe they just wear it less often and not to make their fans upset, but I think it's here to stay for another 3 years.
Are the Yankees the only team without a City Connect?
Oh, they outright rejected it. Yes.
Yeah.
I believe there's maybe one other team. But now it escapes me. But for sure, the Yankees were like, "No, we are the New York Yankees," and I mean, they're slowly. Maybe one day they will because they got rid of their beard policy. They know it has to be well groomed. It can't be
Athletics.
Oh, and the Athletic. Well,
because they don't really have a home, so
yeah, they have no city to connect to. Anyway,
darn.
Moving on. We'll talk about some actual baseball that we didn't recap before because we were taking a little break for Easter and we covered the minor leagues on Monday. The Pirates series got off to a good start. I was there on March 30th, and it was great. Chase Burns outing where he was throwing nasty stuff left and right. He did have a decent couple of walks. I'm going to say 3 or 4 that day, but he was just throwing gas and
3.
Yeah, so he ended up having, I think, getting his first MLB win, if I'm saying right. So it was a great day overall. They got Willie B with the triple that got an RBI, so he had a great day that day. But then they followed it up with kind of 2 stinkers against, I don't know, the Pirates. I want to give them a little bit of respect because I think they're
a decent
difficult.
team.
Yeah, they're going to be difficult to play against, especially if this Connor Griffin turns out to be the player that everyone's talking about. But what were your main takeaways from the Pirates series?
Yeah, the Pirates, if you take away their defensive ability or lack thereof, they're going to be a problem. And I don't want to say a problem for like the National League, but they're definitely going to be a problem for the wild card. And I mean, anytime you got Paul Skeens that pitches the way he does, I think the other day he took a no-hitter into like the 7th inning or something. He's just a crazy talent. And then you have O'Neal Cruz who can get hot at the plate. I think he had 2 home runs in that one game, and then he had another home run the next game in game 3 of the series, I believe. And now they got Connor Griffin, and he's heralded as like the next kind of like Mike Trout kind of prospect. And, we didn't get to see him. He had a few games in spring training where he looked, unreal, but then, he's a 19-year-old kid facing major league talent. So he's going to look overmatched. But I mean, he got his first hit of the game in that Baltimore series. Funny that camera going with the guy with the cone. I don't know if you saw that. Yeah. But I mean, the Pirates they have a lot of power on that team. They have really good pitching. Their bullpen is kind of sus, but I mean, they're winning games, and anytime you win games, you get confident, and you could string more wins together. I think we saw that with the Reds in 2023. And maybe the Pirates have one of those years where maybe they're not going to make the playoffs, but maybe they're over 500 and they're going to be a problem for us. But yeah, I mean, that was a tough series to lose, especially you coming off the back of Chase Burns with that, just, the potential that he has. Like, you saw everything in that outing, and just to see the next 2 outings kind of go meh, just kind of stunk. But yeah, I mean, Pirates are going to be a problem.
Yeah. There is some aspects of the Pirates that worry me, like you said, the pitching, and now they can get hot. Their defense and their base running, I'm not sure if they're like elite, but they are a team with a lot more talent than they have been in the past, and they seem to be investing in that talent. And obviously, I don't think they're going to be able to afford Skeens, but they were able to get Connor Griffin on a 9-year deal, which is huge for them in terms of just keeping their guys in
only
Pittsburgh.
$140 million.
Yeah,
that seems crazy low. I mean, I get it. 9 years, that puts him at 28 for his next contract. But like $140 million for, I mean, what did Bobby Wick got like, what, 211?
I thought Bobby was in the 170, 180 range.
That may have been what it was.
There
was somebody who got in the 200s. I know Acuna had a pretty low deal, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe 120. Yeah. The thing about though with Griffin is that I guess I'm trying to say is that they have now something to build around. Obviously, you got Skeens, but pitching can be not as consistent, and they only play like every 5 days and whatnot. With a guy like him, now they got something to build around, and they'll have reason for fans to come to the stadium because they know that after Connor Griffin's 6-year control, he's gone type of thing. And they'll just kind of, be like, whatever, this is time to cash out on the Pirates fandom. But yeah, the other aspect though, that doesn't worry me is that they are young. They have an O'Neal Cruz who can make the hugest blunders in the game, even though he does kind of make up for it offensively. But the management, the manager, I believe, only like a second year or third year of management professionally. And we've got a guy that has more, he's forgotten more things than that manager knows, basically, in baseball. So that they will do this annoying thing where they're going to be competitive with us, take a series off of us every once in a while, like they did last year late in the season. That's going to be the annoying part. But I think overall, I'm not worried about the Pirates winning more games than the Reds. Barring injury, barring things that happen to the Reds from here on out. But I have more trust in Tito than I do the manager of the Pirates to get the Reds where they need to be.
Yeah, and that's something about the division that you can say about the 3 other contenders. They have very good managers. They have the reigning National League Manager of the Year in Milwaukee. Yeah. Chicago's got a really good manager. He was the former Brewers manager, right? So, and then we got Tito. So there's some really good managers in this division. And I wanted to clarify, Bobby Witt's 11 years, $288 million. A lot higher than I thought, and we both thought.
Yeah, I must be thinking somebody else. But yeah, there was a concerning stat. The Reds went 1 for 15 with runners in scoring position in this Pirates series.
Yeah,
at home. So that's a bit concerning. And over 10 on the Tuesday game that they lost. So like they got those kind of numbers need to be better if they're going to be, winning this division, competing for this division, competing for the wild card. That can't be a series type of thing regularly. Hopefully that's the bottom of the floor of this team, not necessarily something we're going to see more often.
Yeah, and I think there was the stat for the offense is that they are the worst team statistically with runners in scoring position as of I want to say it was game 2 of the Marlins series. They were batting 164 with runners in scoring position, which I think is like 20 points lower than the second worst team. Right. So I think the second worst team's like it's in like the 180s. So it's pretty bad. Do we point the finger at Valleca, or is it just, the guys that we have talent wise? Like, are they trying to do too much? Like, is it one of those situations? But I mean, at what point? Because you can't point the finger at Tito because this has been going on for a few years now. It's not like it's a new thing. Granted, I think 2022, just 4 years ago, we lost 100 games, and I think they might have called an end to the rebuild too soon, just based off of like, hey, you had one good year and you say your rebuild's complete. Like, I don't think you can do that, but still a lot of really young players on this team trying to become something. Like, we're seeing Ellie struggle with runners in scoring. I mean, even Suarez has struggled with runners in scoring position. I think the only player on this team that's done anything is Sal Stewart with runners in scoring position. But he's also driving in runs by himself, just hitting home runs. So I don't know. It is concerning just because I think they had it. Well, we'll talk about it today for the Marlins series, but they were like 0 for 11 or 0 for 14 with runners in scoring position. Like it was just it's becoming a problem.
Yeah, for sure. It was definitely something in the Pirates series, but the way this team is constructed by Tito, not necessarily by Tito, but kind of in his image, run prevention, just getting the great pitching so that you can win at 1-0 all the time. Not necessarily always great for the fans to enjoy, but that's kind of how it went in the Rangers series. They won their games 2-1, 2-0, and then the final game, I think, 3-2. So like we're getting into a situation where last year under Tito as well, they lost those 3 straight games 1-0. And this offense doesn't really kind of come to life till June. As Ricky, we always joke on the show, it's favorite month for the Reds to catch fire. So I don't know. Yes, concerning the runners not scoring and runners in scoring position not converting at a even average rate, just below average rate. That is concerning, but we still got the sweep with the Rangers. So like, I don't know what to make of that. Is it just a situation where right now we have to hopefully depend on elite pitching to get us through and just have enough, just have a Ty Steve home run be the difference maker? Is that where we're at right now?
I mean, it feels like it because that's just where we're at. I mean, we're kind of getting lucky. I mean, we saw it today. Louder didn't have his best stuff, but we saw the glimpse of that in the Rangers series. We saw Louder allow what he threw a shutout through 6 innings, 7 innings.
Yeah.
And then Burns goes out there the next game, had a shutout through 6, goes into the 7th inning, allows a run to tie the game. And then Williamson, the first game in Miami, throws a shutout through 6 2/3, I believe.
Yeah.
Like those are 3 guys that we're counting on to be like, they were going to be depth or AAA, and they've been our 3 best pitchers other than Abbott a couple times. But, yeah, it is concerning because, I mean, if you go to, to the game on Friday where they won 5-3, they had 10 hits, but they were 1 for 3 with runners in scoring position. That's not great. So it's crazy how they scored all those runs and scored 5 runs, and then they went 1 for 3. And then you go to Friday, they went 2-0. They had 8 hits and they go 1 for 10 with runners in scoring position.
Yeah.
I saw the stat that Bryce Spalding put out on Ke'Bryan Hayes, who is batting like .077 since September of last year or August of last year. Like it's not good. And then Noavi Marte also is batting less than 200, maybe closer to below 100 since August or September of last year. And I think it's a little unfortunate with Marte. He's not getting the playing time right now, but when he is getting the playing time, he's not doing anything. So, I mean, we could talk about this later too, is like, with Reese Hines playing the way he's playing and the way Marte and Friedel are both playing, I think it's time to consider Hines, just giving him an everyday opportunity in center field.
Yeah, or Dane Myers and have Reese in left or right. You know what I mean? I'm open to that idea as well. I don't think we need to go down this path where we're having Jacob Hurtubise and Blake Dunn hit 150 or lower for the first month of the season. I think players got options. That's what they're there for. Use them, right? Like this is not charity. This is not a situation where we need to just ease guys in. I understand giving them a couple of weeks maybe to warm up because playing in this cold weather is not necessarily great for hitters. It gives a little bit more advantage to the pitchers, but you're right. This is not where we need to give games away because every single game is going to matter down the stretch. Like we talk about all the time, 83 wins this year ain't getting the job done. You got to get 90. Yeah. So you can't give away games. And to be honest with you, like you had mentioned, you said that we've been lucky. I think we have been ultimately lucky. If the run differential is an indicator of really how good you are as a baseball team, the Reds have been getting their butts kicked in their losses and winning barely by the slimmest of margins, 1 or 2 runs for the most part in almost all their wins, right? So like you hopefully think that just the offense will get going once the weather starts warming up, whether we get some reinforcements from AAA as well. There are some guys that are really mashing down there. Blake Dunn is mashing down there with Reese Hines, so maybe. But it was the Friday game you mentioned. They didn't have many runners in scoring position because all their runs were home runs, right? Like that's how they beat them. They had 3 homers that game against the Rangers, which is rare for this ball club to have 3 home runs or more. If that could be a little bit more of a regular occurrence with Sal Stewart, obviously being a guy that could hit one every single game, and he almost did in the Marlins series that we'll talk about in a bit. But like, I'll take that as well. Like, if we're not going to convert runners in scoring position, then let's hit it over the fence. We got a small we got a small ballpark that can be taken advantage of with a kind of a foe of the Angels that are not great, baseball team. Let's go after it. Let's just put them out of their misery early and get 3 wins and then get all the fan base to get a little bit more calm about this offense.
Yeah, and what was nice about that series in Texas was the bullpen. Actually did really well. Pierce Johnson got his ERA down to 8. He was up there in the 10s for a little while. Brock Burke got his first career save in a 1-2-3 ninth with 3 strikeouts.
He looked great.
And Sam Moll still hasn't allowed a run to this point. So he's looking really good. And Connor Phillips, he's struggling with his command a little bit, but he's showcasing the stuff to have back of the bullpen stuff. And he's slowly but surely getting more opportunities in those situations, with the way that Pagan's been struggling and Santillan kind of struggling, not having the velocity up where it normally has been. Having guys like Brock Burke and Sam Moll and Connor Phillips and Graham Ashcraft, he's looked really good too, and there's a lot of talent in this bullpen that's kind of finally starting to put it together. I mean, granted, we're only 11, 12 games in, so I mean, there's a long ways to go.
Yeah,
but you got to start showing it, and they're starting to show it.
Yeah, a couple notes on that. You'd mentioned the bullpen. The bullpen, I think, according to TJ Stats on Twitter, shout out to him. The bullpen ERA, I think, going into yesterday was 2.44. So they're a typical Tito bullpen, just locking it down and picking the right guys to do the job. And another note, Connor Phillips at the game I was at, it was Chase Burns followed by Jose Franco to Connor Phillips for his first ever career save. And all 3 of those guys were Dayton Dragons at one point. I think the Dragons were shouting him out for having like a whole Dragons lineup.
Dragons Day.
Yeah, exactly. And that was kind of cool to just see that. Especially it was Jose Franco's major league debut at that game that I was at. Yeah. So that was kind of cool too.
Which was fitting for you because you're the one that said he would be the first one called up, and you just happened to be there. So what a moment.
Hey, I don't know. Sometimes I get it right, not all the time, River St. Martin and Cooper Bowman and whatnot, but I'll take it. I'll take my wins when I get it. Any other thoughts about the Rangers series before we move on?
No.
All right. The Marlins won. We were going into like high expectations. Like this team, is on a sweep. They're on a high. They're on the road. Haven't lost all of 2026 going to the Marlins. And they go into this series, which I know if we were doing a show on Sunday and Easter, I think I would have said, don't think the Marlins are going to go quietly. They had started well themselves. Sandy Alcantara is really good. He had a Maddox just the week before for the Marlins. And also they're playing in Miami, which, I don't know if that's necessarily home field advantage because of the lack of fans they get down there, but it was a homecoming for our guy Sal Stu, and we'll definitely talk about him a little bit more after this series, but it was definitely a coming out party. I think everyone in Major League Baseball knows who Sal Stu is now for sure, if they haven't already. But they end up winning the first 2 games, stole a game, and then lost the last 2 kind of in frustrating fashion. What were your main takeaways from this Marlins 4-game set?
I mean, it was nice to get the first 2. You felt really good about that, especially coming off of the sweep. Especially with Sal Stewart getting that homecoming kind of moment for him.
Yeah.
And you go in Monday, and you go 1 for 6 with runners in scoring position, but you hit the home run by Stevenson to kind of put the game out. I don't want to say out of hand, it's 2-0, but just for the way that the Miami offense was going that day, it was kind of out of hand. And, Pagan gets a save. Williamson just looked how we kind of hoped he would, just based off of the outing he had before that, where he just did not have it. And, other than that, like the bullpen, like we've been talking about, looks really good. Pagan got the save. His ERA is down to 7 at that time. And Burke, he comes in for Williamson, gets a strikeout. I think his last 4 outs are strikeouts up to that point. And then Santillan allows a walk, but he still hasn't allowed a run yet to that point. And, and then Pagan just goes 1, 2, 3. But it is it's concerning with the offense, just because I'm not putting the blame on Suarez, but you sign a guy like Suarez to have that bopper, but it can't just be him, and it can't just be Stewart. You got to have Ellie. Ellie's got to start putting it together. McLean, I kind of worry about him a little bit more, not as much as last year, but there's still the thoughts of that happening again with him not picking it up. And then Steer, when is he gonna finally kind of break out and have that moment? And is Will Benson ever gonna put a streak together outside of a 3-game streak, 4-game streak, and become like this proven major league player? That all of that, and then you have Ke'Bryan Hayes batting 9th, who has like 2 hits this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of odd that we're coming off of a 5-2 road trip, and we got more questions than answers in certain areas. The pitching, the Brandon Williamson game on Monday, where he went into the 7th, I believe, and had a really nice bounce back after he kind of struggled, I think, in his first start of the year.
Yeah,
that was nice to see. And then we stole that game with Sandy Alcantara. Man, he's good. So like that was the game where I was like, okay,
he's like Cy Young caliber,
right? If the Reds lose this one and they split or win the next 2 and make 3 out of 4, totally fine with that. And going into the 9th inning, it was completely looking like that. Like he was on 90 pitches going into the 9th inning, just has all his stuff. Like I previously said, he had a Maddox the start before, so he's literally going to go like back-to-back Maddoxes in terms of pitching under 100 pitches for a complete game shutout. Like that's elite stuff. Like I'm not going to get mad about that, but Reds never say die. That was the kind of thing that the 2025 team had, right? They'd lose the first 2 games of the series, and a David Bell team or a Brian Price team or whomever would have folded, right, and got swept. Not the 2025 Reds, and not this team either. They stole that game, went extras, got the job done. Probably the biggest margin of victory they've had in a win, 6-3 in a while. So neither here nor there. Then the next 2 games, it kind of the bottom fell out. They had their first error officially, I think, from Singer and his throwing errors, unfortunately. And that kind of, I don't know if that necessarily broke the camel's back, but it kind of, a lot of things started to go wrong after that, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And, losing the last 2 games to the Marlins is never a good thing. But I mean, last year, when they came to us, they beat us in a 2-1 in a series of the Marlins coming to Great American Ballpark. And then in July of 2025 in Miami, they split the series as well, where we lost the first 2 games of the series and salvaged it by winning the last 2. Kind of the reverse this time around. So, like, the Marlins always seem to give us problems. And I know we always like to make this a Miami Marlins podcast for some reason. But they're just pesky, man. Like, they won 79 games last year, just being annoying and winning at the back half of the year against teams they probably shouldn't have. So, like, I'm not trying to I guess I'm trying to calm the fan base and think that, hey, this is not the end of the world. We lost to the Marlins, so what? Let's go against the Angels. And if we struggle against the Angels, okay, now we can start really kind of bringing this back up of what's going on with this team.
Yeah, I mean, the Marlins are a good team. I mean, they're tied for the division lead with Atlanta. They might be a sneaky team this year. Just throwing that out there. I think there's going to be a lot of unfamiliar faces in playoff contention this year. You know, you look at the NL Central as of right now. You got the Cubs in last place. You know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
who would have saw that coming? And they're 6-6. It's not like they're bad, you know.
Yeah.
But you know, you go to the NL East. You got Miami and Atlanta at the top, and then you got Philadelphia and Washington at the bottom. You know, and then you go to the NL West, and like the Rockies are at 500. Like, you know, like they've won 4 games in a row. Like they're a good team. Like they actually could be a good team. Like they might. Not saying they will. They could have a run where they might be in contention for a wild card spot at some point this season. I'm not saying at the end of the season, but there are some teams that you're just not used to seeing at the top. The Angels right now are in second place in their division. Granted, they're a game under 500, but but like Seattle's 4-9. Cal Raleigh is just not playing. So like even like Detroit 4-9. Like they're just
they've been struggling.
They've been, and then you know Boston. They just won their first back-to-back games after beating us on opening day. They're 4-8. Toronto's under 500. It's gonna be. I think it's gonna be a weird year. You know, we're seeing in our division. You know, the Pirates are right there. You know, 7. They're 7-5, 7-3 in their last 10. Like they're, like we talked about, they're gonna be a sneaky team. But
For sure.
Going back to the series, because we went on a Marlins tangent.
Again, yeah, well.
Again, we're a Marlins show sometimes. It is unfortunate losing the last 2, and especially the way we lost today. You know, 8-1. But you feel good with a winning road trip, especially with Texas being. I think they're the division leader in the AL West. And you feel good about beating a playoff caliber team who just won a World Series 3 years ago. And, you know, there's going to be a time where Singer's going to be right, because I think he's still kind of dealing with the blister. Lodolo's going to come back, hopefully, and be healthy for a stretch. And we're going to have 6 legitimate starters in this rotation. And then who knows what happens if and when Hunter Green comes back. Like, that's going to be the ultimate game changer for the pitching staff.
Oh, absolutely. It'll be like we talked about, like a trade acquisition around that time in June, July. But yeah, I don't know. It's just this team kind of didn't look like itself in terms of like the undisciplined play, poor pitching. You know what I mean? That's kind of, I guess, maybe the main takeaways of these last 2 Marlins games is just it didn't look like the team that had been playing in the previous, 10 games, 11 games or so. So that's a bit of a disappointment, but still like a winning road trip, going into home where you're going to get those, good vibes of a City Connect Friday and City Connect Saturday. So I'm not too concerned right now. They do have some questions to answer, but it's a long season. This is just literally the first 2 weeks. Nothing to sound the alarms about yet. So anything else before we're moving on to our guy?
No.
Well, this guy, if you don't know, now you know. Sal Stewart is in contention already, front runner, possibly in a lot of people's betting mind that Sal Stewart Rookie of the Year, and the way he's hitting, he's the team MVP as well for the Cincinnati Reds, providing the only offense today for the Cincinnati Reds, I believe, like with the home run. So it's kind of interesting that we're talking about a guy that's played less than 30 games in the majors. I want to say, like, a guy that's 22 years old, just turned 22. It's giving a lot of, like, this is the guy for the future. This is the guy you got to lock up, and we can talk about that aspect in a little bit as well. But, like, what are your first thoughts when we say Sal Stewart to you?
Yeah, I mean, he's the backbone of this team. Like, he is. I mean, you can say the heart and soul of this team. I mean, you can say that from the time he got called up last year. Just the energy that he brought to the team. I mean, I think you were at his debut game, and when he scored that run after he had his first career hit, and he's just firing up the crowd. It's like that. We need something like that. We have a lot of talent on this team, but we don't have the energy that we've been missing that kind of energy, and that alone is huge. And not only that, he's batting 364, has a 1200 OPS. He has double the amount of hits as TJ Friedel to start the year. He's got 16. Friedel has, I think, 8. I don't think there's many negatives you can really say about him, because he's even got more walks than strikeouts. So I mean, like that's been a thing throughout his entire minor league career too. So that's nothing new for him. It's just fascinating to see that this early in his career. And I don't want to jinx it, but man, he's living up to that nickname Salbert, because I'm seeing a young Albert Pujols in this kid.
Yeah, somebody had questioned that in the comments one time about us going like, really comparing to Albert Pujols already, but like in terms of just him coming onto the scene and like I said, making that splash, making that instant impact. And yeah, not only was he pumping up the crowd, he's getting his teammates pumped up, and that's a big thing, especially in a long 6-month season when these guys are grinding every single day. To have a kid come in there and just freshen up the mentality of the clubhouse is massive, just to give an extra boost down the stretch. And he's doing it now in the months where notoriously the Reds are slow starters. And there are some signs of life in other parts. It's not just all Sal. It looks like Ellie's legs are starting to look great because he's stealing more bases and he's making those first to third turns really nice, and even going first to home, I believe, on one of the games. So like it's looking like it's promising, but there's just these two guys right now, at least for me in my eyes, and that's kind of a bit concerning, is that we're depending on a fourth-year guy as your best player again, who gets all the criticism if he doesn't make a throw or doesn't steal a base. And then a rookie, a guy has played, like I said, less than 30 games in the majors. Like this is obviously we're in a part of our organization where we're drafting, develop, and trying to get guys out there that maybe they're building still to the to that World Series goal, right? But right now, we got to get some more production from some guys that have been around the block. Like you said, like Gino, like TJ Friedel. You know what I mean? Like Ke'Bryan Hayes. It's not his first rodeo. This is not like, you know what I mean? Like he's seeing new pitching for the first time. This guy, you just got to get the job done to support these guys, because the more dangerous the lineup is around, especially Ellie and Sal, the better this team will be.
Yeah. I might blow your mind for a minute. Really? So I went back. I'm on Baseball Reference right now, and I wanted to pull up Albert Pujols' first 96 at bats of his career. Sal's at 99 at bats for his career. So wow. I'm going to name some stats. I want you to guess which player it is. Okay.
Okay.
365, 1149 OPS, and 8 home runs.
Is that Albert?
That's Albert.
Oh, okay.
You ready?
Oh, no.
303, 1.07, 9 home runs.
Wow.
For Sal Stewart.
Wow. You better put that tweet out there before someone does.
Yeah. I mean, I this gave me chills, man, because like he is on a perfect comp right now for Albert Pujols. And I'm not saying he's going to live up to it for his career.
Yeah.
That's a tall ask for a 22-year-old, but I mean, the similarities are there. Albert Pujols started out as a third baseman, transitioned to first base. Same with Sal. And, there's a drive for Sal to be a really good player. And, if he becomes an Albert Pujols, like he could carry the Reds for 15 years. You just gotta extend him. You have to. With players like Connor Griffin getting extensions right now for what feels like nothing. Like when I saw the Pirates extended Connor Griffin, I was thinking like $200 million was the baseline, right? Especially with, I get it. He's 19. He's about to turn 20, I believe, here in a couple days. But when you see Bobby Witt, what did he get his extension 2 years ago? He would have been 22, 21, I think, when he got
Something like that.
extended.
Yeah.
And he got 11 years, 288. And Ellie's nowhere near contract extension talks. I think those are gone. He's going to be, $900 million for the Dodgers in 3 or 4 years. But
Yeah.
the iron's hot now to get Sal, because if you don't get Sal now, you're just not going to, because he's going to be way out of the price range. He's going to be asking $400 million, and he's putting up numbers that mimic Albert Pujols this early in his career. It is that's a man. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, I put this out there on X, and I don't know. I hope I'm not right, but I basically said out there was like, if Sal is great and good right now, but he might be too expensive for the Reds now because of how well he's playing. And I tried looking up his agent, and luckily I believe it's not who, but 140 for Connor Griffin, who's done nothing in the majors. And I'm not saying that Sal is like, a perennial all-star. He hasn't really done anything except for the 90 at bats that he has. But 140 is now the baseline, right, for a Sal Stewart type contract. Unless you're going to do a thing where you backload the whole deal and do it like Juan Soto type thing, where you 15 years and you spread it out and you put all the incentives and stuff like that and put it, backload it and whatever, do it so that it's affordable in the beginning when we got this team that's young and hungry, and then kind of like Votto, just like it's just dead money, 22, and 2030, whatever the years are that he ends up having his, twilight of his career, if you will, or the other side of the peak. But like, I don't know, man. Like, the Reds have been really hesitant on extending hitters since Nick Castellanos in 2021. Like, that was the last time, and then they promptly traded him. So like, I agree with everything you're saying. This is the time to do it. You do it next year at this time, he's twice the price. And also with the CBA stuff, the Reds obviously have this, I think this trepidation, this hesitancy to do this, because the whole Votto thing was seen as an albatross on the organization, and they've admitted that, right, in conversations and stuff like that. So, what I guess in an ideal world, Ricky, what is the contract? Is it 11 years, 200 plus? Like, that's the first thought I had when Sal Stewart hit that home run. Is like, crap.
Yeah.
Crap. Now he's going to be $200+ million.
I feel like if you could go somewhere between the Connor Griffin and Bobby Witt contract, between 9 and 11 years, in between 170 to 250 million. Like, I think they could. I think the Reds could obviously make that work. Like, that's not, in the grand scheme of things, that's not that much money, especially if you're not going to extend Ellie and you're not going to extend, pitchers, because it seems like this draft and develop is where they're going with pitching, which is working. But you got to lock up somebody. Like, you can't just, even the Rays, obviously it didn't work out. They tried to lock up Wander Franco, and he just went a little cuckoo. But they had their star that they were going to lock up, and he ended up getting locked up somewhere else.
Yeah. So my first thought was that he's going to be north of 200 million when he hit that home run today. Yeah. And I think that's the baseline in my mind. I don't know exactly what he's after. I think Greg Kuffner even put out there that this is the first, or maybe it was Fred put out there that this is the first guy, perennial potential superstar, that said he wanted to stay in Cincinnati. You don't really hear that from Ellie, because obviously Ellie has who as his agent, so he'll never say that publicly.
Right.
So I don't know. 11 years, 200 million. That, man, maybe. I don't know. It makes me sad thinking about this stuff, because obviously the Ellie conversation is already, he's already see you later for the most part, unless something happens with this CBA negotiations and there's some sort of bird rights stuff where you can sign guys for less, but they're still, baseball's union is really, really strong. So they're not going to say we're going to take less money for our players just because we want to be nice to this, Cincinnati ownership group.
Yeah, and it feels like you're going to see a lot of these extensions because they think that these extensions are going to be grandfathered into the next CBA if there's a salary cap. So I don't know how they would manage that, but I feel like regardless, like I just think, I think the window to extending Tyler Stevenson's gone, and I think we see who the next catcher is going to be. It's probably going to be PJ Higgins or
Troutwine
or Banfield as like the bridge for Duno and McChrystal in the next 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
But you gotta lock up somebody that's, I don't want to say to keep fans, but just somebody who's going to draw fans just based on their play. And Sal has that energy that we saw with Ellie, but in a different way. Like Ellie's energy was just running hard, hitting the ball 120 miles per hour, going first to third in like 6 seconds. Sal was like fundamental baseball, hit the ball up the middle, and like, dare I say, better than Joey Votto? Like, could he be better than Joey Votto? Like, yeah. I mean, if he's on this Pujols trajectory, like, yeah, I mean, he could be the greatest player of this, the millennia. Like, who knows? Like, or he could pull a Matt McClain and just fizzle out, and you extend him, and then you regret it. But in the long run, no matter what people say, the Votto extension worked because you had to keep Joey Votto. There's no way you let a player of that caliber leave. And in my opinion, like I guess comparing Sal Stewart and Ellie, like right now, Sal's the more consistent player, and he's walking. He's good at, he plays a pretty good defense at first base. And, I love Ellie De La Cruz. He's a game changer, and I'm not making this a negative Ellie show at all. It's just, if I had to pick one player to extend, like, I think I'm picking Sal Stewart.
I take all those points, and I raise you this hot take. Yep. I don't think we afford Sal Stewart. That's my cynicism as a Reds fan. So who do you extend? Alfredo Duno. You get him now. Yeah. You do the thing that the Brewers love doing. Yeah, the Brewers and the Mariners did it to another guy. I forget his name. They got a minor leaguer with the extension.
Cole Emerson.
Something like that. Yeah. I'm not a Mariners podcast. Yeah. But get him locked into 8 years, $80 million.
Yeah.
Call it a day. Just do it. I don't care if he gets hurt this year, the next year, or the following years. You get him into this Hunter Green type contract, and then you got a cheap catcher who could be Salvi Perez at his peak, and Shea Langoliers at his his
floor.
Average. Yeah, his floor.
Yeah.
So do it. If you can't get Sal, I say go after Alfredo. But that's just me.
I say get them both.
All right, we're spending Bob's money like nothing. You know what I mean? Like, this is, how. Well, do you have any other hot takes since we're at this part of the show?
Yeah, I mean, I guess my hot take is like you have to extend Sal Stewart right now. Like right now, if you don't do it, I don't want to say it, but if you don't extend him before July, and he's knocking on the door of an All-Star appearance in his rookie season, it's not going to happen. And unless something drastic happens where they get a sudden influx of money, or the other minority owners decide, hey, this kid's really freaking good at baseball, and they see the comparisons of Sal and Albert, and they go, hey, we're going to keep this guy. Let's give him everything we can give him. But I don't know. I just feel like it's now.
I agree. It definitely has to be before he starts getting all-star votes and he's like in the top 3 all-star getter, because then you're talking about a guy who's going to be going to contract talks as an all-star or a perennial potential all-star. So that raises the price again. That gets you up in possibly the 250 million range or something like that. But like, yeah, I don't know. I think I'm gonna try to ride this Alfredo extension talk as far as I can, because
I don't disagree with it. I feel like
we can't miss out on our guys anymore. Like this, we understand the Ellie thing. He was a meteor that shot out of the sky, that landed here in Cincinnati. That we signed for what, $60,000 as a free agent signing. So like, he was a 1 in a million type of guy. But like, when they got Alfredo Dano, they knew that they were getting this. And when they drafted Sal Stu as a compensation pick, they knew they were getting this. You know what? Extend Cam Collier. There we go. There's another hot take. Get it.
You know what? Extend Steel Hall.
Oh yeah, we're gonna really set the mold or set the precedent. Yeah.
You know what? Draft the guy right now. Remember back in the day, this is so random. Remember back in the NFL, you could sign your draft pick before you drafted him. Like, I think Sam Bradford was one that he had his contract before he got drafted. Imagine if baseball did that.
Well, yeah. I mean, they got the international free agent signings. That's kind of they're talking about an international draft coming up, possibly.
Really,
as part of the CBA talks. Yeah,
I don't know, like that.
It's mostly to protect these like 13 and 14 and 12-year-olds.
That I agree with.
That get signed. It's to protect their rights from getting this like, Wild West type of situation where they end up dumping this kid because he doesn't end up being as good as they thought he was, and it's just like it's pretty dark.
What prevents all that? You just take away power from the agents of these. Like, you need to police the agents of these kids. Like, we saw like the one for the Reds, he's like 11 years old. That they're like, the Reds are probably going to sign this kid in 2035 or whatever it is. I feel like they need to police that stuff. Like,
yeah,
make it. Sure. They need to really enforce like, hey, you cannot talk to a kid until he's 15.
Yeah. I think that's what they're trying to professionalize it, formalize it with an international draft of kind of sorts. I don't know exact details.
Yeah, I feel like with the draft though, like, and I'm it sucks because you're seeing the Reds kind of finally figure out the international signing period. Like, I feel like with the draft, that just helps the big market teams a little bit, because with the signing period, you can go out and you can sign, your 2 top end players, and then you can just kind of fizzle in the next 16 players. And those 16 players, like we saw in 24, could become something. Like Pablo Nunez, he wasn't a top dollar signing. He signed for like $400,000 or $500,000, and he's one of the better players of that class.
Yeah, and you're right. Yeah, the Reds do spend their money wisely with that. I mean, Alfredo Dano, international free agent signing.
Yeah, I mean, Ellie for $60,000.
Yeah, so you can find some stuff in there. They need to find some sort of compromise, because there is, like, international soccer, you're not allowed to sign a professional contract until you're 16. So like, there's got to be some sort of professionalization to prevent these kids agreeing to these handshake deals or verbal contracts or whatever they do down there in the Dominican and the Caribbean, that it ends up hurting some players more than helping them. So yeah, well, that's another podcast in itself, when we in the off season, possibly with the CBA talks and whatnot, if that is a part of it. But yeah, anything else, Ricky, before, got any articles or anything coming out soon?
None at the moment. I'm kind of on a wait and see approach right now.
Yeah. The card giveaway for Nabel Mariano, check that out with the Hit Machine, Hit Machine cards on X. He's still giving that away. We're going to be doing that giveaway until the entries until May 4th. So that's coming up. It's about less than a month. So if you're interested in to a Nabel Mariano numbered card, hit up our X at Red Hot Reds Pod, or the Hit Machine cards. So like, check all that out. He's doing great stuff. We really appreciate his support. He's a Reds and Red Sox fan, I found out. So like, I guess maybe that was the synergy at the opening day stuff. But yeah, shout out to him. Thank you for his partnering with us in doing this stuff with All Gloves Off Media. So, but yeah, if there's nothing else for you, Rick, we'll sign off. Go Reds.
Go Reds.